CNBC Headline News is brought to you exclusively by West Coast Auto, located at 5180 Holt Boulevard in Montclair, where you'll find the widest selection of the most pristine used automobiles in Southern California.
West Coast Auto of Montclair is the 2015 top-rated pre-owned dealer in California, offering a service department that surpasses expectations in every single way. And while you're there, browse West Coast Auto's extensive lot of best-in-class pre-owned vehicles.
You're getting the best-in-class vehicles with financing options like 0% down and no payments for 90 days. Visit westcoastauto.com or call 9099-million.
Thank you, Inland Empire, for listening to KCAA Radio.
The views of the following show are not necessarily the views of broadcast management or its owner, Fred Lundgren. But then again, the views of broadcast management are, well, different. And now it's time for On The Mark Live with host Mark Westwood. Finally, a show about KCAA. Hot topics, a little locomotion, current events, news, laugh, reviews, and a little irreverence. And you. And now, ladies and gentlemen, 3, 2, 1, Mark.
And we got the locomotion for you today on The Mark Live. In the studio, we have our esteemed news director, Di Rice, who's going to be with us. And then I said, Donald, Jolly, Mr. Dr. Dolly, please to stick around here. This is a show about KCA. He just finished up with his show, What's It All About, on Wednesdays, as usual at 3 o'clock. So, hi, Doctor.
Greetings and salutations, good wishes, and joy.
Yeah, so I said, move over. I'll be the host. You be the guest. And then in the studio is Joe Britt, who is Dr. Joe Britt. No, Joe Britt, Master Joe Britt, who is also the host of Kcaa-On Racing. Hi, Joe.
I'm here.
He's here, huh? And like the announcer said, who is Carlos Gonzalez, who also works here, said this is a show about KCA. So we're going to start off a little bit about KCA. Just as soon as I clear my throat. Anyway, we have a good time around here. And, it has really been a joy working here in the last 2-3 months, helping getting things going in a different direction. And, we're CNBC Business News now. We're an NBC affiliate still, but we're most specifically a CNBC News business affiliate. We got a lot of business shows on, new shows coming. And one of the new shows we added actually was about sports. And we just added it on Monday, which is why I'm sitting here on Wednesday, because my show used to be on Wednesday. And by the way, it says the views of the next show host are not necessarily the views of station management. But how do you separate that when you're the operations manager?
It's hard.
I don't know. But yeah, okay, I'll try to not be the views of myself, I guess. But anyway. But we had a new show that debuted this week. It's going to be every Monday at 4 p.m., and it is the Chab Dog Sports Show. Great show. Had a good first start on Monday. It's a sports wrap-up show, and that's perfect for Mondays right after the weekend when all the sports happen. So, yeah.
I am?
You're on. You just have to talk into a microphone. And this is the microphone. You talk right here into it. It's got a little sweet spot right there. And you put your, just so like I'm doing, how I'm talking into, get close to it. Embrace it. Embrace the microphone. Really, Di, you're not close enough to it. Talk to me. Really, get closer. Mm-hmm. Get closer. A little more. A little more.
Right, here I am.
Yeah, and you sound much better that way. It's just a miracle the way it works. Our station owner, Fred Lundgren, called me from Texas. He says, put a little sticky note on the microphone for that and say, talk right here.
For even in there?
For even in there. That's
really?
Right. Yeah, you need to talk closer to the microphone.
Like 5 weeks here and...
You were doing better before, but I think you just kind of got shy of this microphone. I don't know what it is. This big brown. I won't go there.
Don't even go there. Don't even go there. Don't even go there.
Well, I used to do that too, but what I did is started shrieking.
And you need to be a little closer too.
Yeah,
there you go.
I have to be closer.
Turn them up, Joe.
Closer and louder, right?
Closer and louder. We're going to teach everybody.
We got to be heard. I got to have people hear what I say.
Yes, exactly. And on this microphone, I think the host microphone's a little louder always anyway. But anyway, let's talk about the Chab Dog Sports Show. Every Monday at 4 p.m., like regular, like clockwork now, he talks about the Major League Baseball. He talks about the National Basketball Association, the National Football League, the National Hockey League, tennis, soccer, anything with balls.
Yeah.
He's going to talk about it.
Amen.
Amen.
It's not a bad sport. I mean, it wasn't pretty bad. I liked it,
yeah.
actually. Yeah, it was pretty good.
Yeah, you like the show?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Entertaining.
So welcome, Chab Dog, to the KCAA family. And we hope you have a long, healthy life. And if you missed the Chab Dog show, the beautiful thing about it at kcaaradio.com, it's like a radio DVR. You go on there, you find the Chab Dog show. It'll be on Mondays at 4. There's a little site that says web, and there's a little site that says podcast. And if you click on the podcast, you'll be able to listen to the show right then and there. You can listen to it naked in the bathroom. You can listen to it in your pajamas at 3 a.m. in the morning. You can listen to it, on your cell phone. Or iPhone or smartphone. Do you still call them cell phones? Is that showing my age?
Yeah,
Well,
no,
I do,
it's
but I'm not
still
a tech person.
cell
That's why.
phone.
Yeah, iPhone, Android, cell phone.
Well,
yeah.
you say cell phone, I think it covers it, right?
Yeah, if you got a little flip crazer phone, those were the
No,
big popular thing.
I still have
old
one.
school.
I noticed one laying on the table earlier.
It's mine. It's mine.
I
After
know,
my three iPhones got stolen, I got my old flip phone out. Now nobody steals it. I leave it everywhere.
Dr. Jolly, you can
That's
buy a
true.
smartphone now.
That's true.
They're $40 and $50. They've come down so they're not the
and you
best,
can-
but
I still owe money on the 3 that got stolen.
give me a little more juice on Dr. Jolly's mic, if you wouldn't mind.
Juice.
You got it pumped all the way up. Yeah,
I
okay.
need juice. Is
Juice.
that better?
That's better. Yeah.
Okay, good.
That's perfect. Just the way
Be
you were
close.
doing that.
I'm very close now.
Yes,
Okay,
embrace
got
the
it.
microphone. Feel the microphone. Establish a relationship with the Anyway, but if you want to find out more about Chab Dog, you can also go to his website, chabdog.com. Chabdog.com. So that is the first of many things here that we want to talk about. I also want to talk about a couple other things. I like the weather out today.
I do too.
It's wonderful.
Yeah, I don't know where it came from. Well, maybe I do. I'm going to get to that in a minute. But, we had this hot weather. I was putting shorts on, mowing the lawn, sunny, putting the suntan lotion. All of a sudden, boom, cloudiness. All of a sudden, dampness. A little bit of rain and spritz in Yucaipa, where I'm from. And I'm going, what the heck is going on here? And then I open up the San Bernardino Sun newspaper, and there it is, full bleed, 4-color. The National Orange Show starts today.
Yes.
Da-da-da-da. And any local person from San Bernardino, Riverside, Inland Empire knows what the National Orange Show brings. What's it bring, Dr. Jolly?
Oh, childhood memories. I grew up in San Bernardino, and I even watched the major building at the Orange Show burn down when I was a little boy.
Oh.
I walked down East Street 3 miles myself. I was like 7 years old, and I stood there and watched the fire. My mother called the police. She didn't know where I was. But I love that thing. I used to go there on every ride possible, and I think I will this year too.
They used to have parades. They used to have
big
parades.
Big time parades.
And, I was in the marching band at San Bernardino High School. I marched down East Street, which was our big main street.
Yep.
All proud, marching into the Orange Show. And then my band used to march around the Orange Show every evening, and our band director, Dr. Leonard Anderson from San Bernardino High School, who's retired and gone on to Wisconsin for whatever ridiculous, crazy reason, because it's really cold there. But anyway, he used to ride around on the golf cart. It was back in the days where people could have fun and people didn't all get all so uptight. And I think Dr. Anderson sometimes might have had a snoot or a nip too.
Well, we all need a nip now and then.
And he was pretty happy. Let me tell you, he was pretty happy and having a good time. And he'd ride the cart through the ranks of the band. And, I could talk like this. They can't fire him now. He's retired. But, these days it would be a court-martial offense to do something like that. Just have a good time. You must be straight-laced, must not show alcohol, blah, 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 whatever. Anyway, the National Orange Show started today. So the correct answer is, why is the weather so gloomy?
Because the very first Orange Show, it was gloomy and it was raining.
Yes, rain. There's the answer I was looking for. Ding, ding, ding. If I was Groucho Marx, remember the Groucho Marx show?
Totally.
Bling, 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 bling. You could see the birdie come down and say, that's the correct answer.
Yep.
Rain. Anyway, and we're going to talk about TV in the next part of the show, by the way, and how you can get free TV and save maybe $900 to $1,200, some people even $1,500 a year who pay ridiculous rates for TV, the TV experience, and how much it's improved since the digital transfer. And that's going to be in the second part of our show. So stick around about that. I also, want to encourage you to go to the National Orange Show, support this local event. It really is a great event. They've got the ride still, and they've got carny food.
Yeah.
There's also
Everybody
a
loves
lot of
carnival
exposure to
food.
new products and things that can help us figure out what's going on in the world and what might be available to help us.
Right. It is only $1 today, by the way, folks. Just $1.
Yeah. And
to get in.
the most expensive it gets is $8 on Sunday.
Right.
So it's really a good deal.
It's a really good deal. It's a really good family event. There's lots of good food. They have hot dogs bigger than anybody should ever eat. I've seen these things. They're not foot long. They're like 2 feet long and, a pound. I mean,
Wow.
I ate one once. It was the worst thing I should have ever put in my body. Dr. Charlie's laughing.
I love them. I love those hot dogs. But for my health reason, I generally will eat a kosher hot dog.
Yeah.
And every time I go eat a kosher hot dog, I generally have my cross hanging out. And somebody will say, "Oh, are you Jewish?" And I say, "Well, no, but I love Jewish hot dogs." And I raise my cross up and I say, "My boss is." It always gets a laugh,
There you go. Nathan's Hot Dogs in Las Vegas.
Amen.
Good there. Amen to that. I was in Las Vegas at the National Association of Broadcasters convention this past week. I think it was a lot of fun. We went there and talked about broadcasting stuff and radio stuff. And if you're a radio nerd or a television nerd, let me tell you, that's the place to go every year. And the reason being is you can buy stuff without taxes. That's the one thing. Nevada has no
Amen.
sales tax.
That's right.
So I bought some things for a little project I'm doing, and I probably saved about $1,000 in
Good.
taxes alone.
Cool.
So that's always a fun thing to go to Las Vegas. The big thing at the National Association of Broadcasting convention, Joe Britt, you'll like this, video for miles. Let me tell you, GoPro was there, and they were there large. They were giving away free GoPro cameras. There are all kinds of college students and stuff there. It's the big thing now. It's video and producing YouTube videos and stuff like that. In fact, I'm going to interview a guy, Mark E. Miller, hopefully sometime soon. I'm trying to get an interview with him. He has mastered this. He's got, his site probably has, 100,000 hits a day.
Wow.
Yeah, this is a big thing now. Television networks, radio stations, YouTube, GoPro channel. Yep. Everybody's hitting it. I mean, it's a multimedia platform. We're in a multimedia age. We were talking about iPhones and flip phones, and we were talking about Crazer phones just a little bit ago.
Yeah.
And, that was the big thing. Everybody had to have a Crazer phone, and now it's like, you have one of those?
What did that look like?
The Crazer phones, is that the clam thing that you have that you open?
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's called Crazer.
Old-fashioned one like I have.
Yeah, but, old-fashioned was only 3 years ago,
I
maybe.
know.
Some fun National Orange Show Fairfax. Okay. It's 100 years old. A century of citrus rum.
Actually, it's a little misleading because I was trying to do the math because it actually began in 1911.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But what happened is it didn't take place during World War II. So this is the 100th show. It's not really the 100th birthday.
Okay, so it's the 100th show this year.
Yeah.
Okay, that's still a century of citrus fun. I guess you can put it that way.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, that's right. Anyway, it runs today, April 22nd, all the way through the 26th. That doesn't seem like it's a long time, does it? That's just not very long, is it? So you got to get down there. Mm-hmm. Wednesday and Thursday, it runs at 4 to 11 p.m. Friday, it runs 2 to 11 p.m. Saturday and Sunday, it runs noon to 11 p.m. I can remember it seemed like the National Orange Show was like 2 weeks long.
Used to be. What is it now?
Well, the 24th to the 26th, that's 4 days.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Not long at all. But admission today is $1. $1 all day. $2 on Thursday, that's tomorrow. $5 before 6 p.m. $8 after 6 p.m. And Friday and Saturday and Sunday, it's $8 all day. Kids are $5, 5 to 12. Children
Seniors are $5, right?
Mm-hmm. And children 4 and younger, $5. And
no, 4 and younger are free.
4 and younger are free. You're right. 4 and younger are free. Carnival rides.
Ooh, and military. Military is free too if you have a valid ID. So
right.
That's a good deal.
So support the Omnitrans too. By the way, Omnitrans XPX Rapid Transit will offer expanded weekend services. Friday, April 24th from 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. Saturday, the 25th from noon to 11 p.m. I thought they ran late anyway. Sunday, April the 26th to 8 p.m. You can ride the SBX. That's that train that goes down the middle of the street. Has anybody read that? Have you ridden that yet?
Yeah, I did. I took it all the way from the north part of town down to Loma Linda.
Yeah?
Just for the experience, and it was quite wonderful. And if I worked in San Bernardino rather than Newport Beach, I would take it every day because I live in the north part of town. and you can get down there. It took us like 16 minutes.
Yeah.
Wow.
It doesn't stop everywhere.
Yeah.
You have to know where to park or where to go to catch it. And they have a big parking lot in the north part of town where you can leave your car there.
It looks like kind of a fun thing to read. And I want to tell our listeners something, everybody's disparaging it because they have to do U-turns. Well, I live in Yucaipa. There's big rocks in the middle of our streets.
Yeah,
literally.
and lots of traffic circles.
Yeah,
I
and
go
so
there all the time.
You just have to learn how to make a U-turn. Get over it.
Amen.
Grow up.
Amen.
Grow
Hallelujah.
up. Good Lord. You have to make a U-turn. Everybody in Yucaipa's gotten used to it. I think people from San Bernardino can get used to it.
We can. And with that thought, Mr. Mark, I appreciate being here for a few minutes. I have to go now and make a lecture in Montclair. So
Okay.
I wish everybody a great afternoon. Listen and learn about all this free TV stuff you can get, because you can save a lot of money. I'm thinking seriously about it if I'm in the right geographic area.
Yeah.
So take care. God bless everybody, and listen to my show next Wednesday at 3:00.
Thank you, Dr. Jolly,
Bye,
for
Dr.
joining
Jolly.
us. Yeah. And it'll be back at 3 o'clock next Wednesday, and we always like to have people, different show hosts. We've had Bev in here, different show hosts from KCAA as we move forward here, and Dr. Jolly has a great show. I was talking about XBS, and XBX is a bus line, extended bus line, and we're pretty lucky to have it. Actually, the city won a Streetsy Award for it.
Really?
Yeah, it's a national award they give for the most improved street in the nation. It was a national award.
Wow.
And it really did improve East Street a lot as far as its cleanliness and its look, and everywhere it went, it's an added improvement. And then people disparage it because they said it's the city's bankrupt and they're using taxpayer money to do that. Well, here's a little fact. Not everything that is spent in the city of San Bernardino comes out of the same general big old fund. Okay? And this particular thing, the voters, the taxpayers, the voters of the entire state of California voted they wanted more mass transit to relieve us from smog and traffic congestion. And so about maybe 7 or 8 years ago, they voted this thing called Prop 1A and Prop 1B, and there was Prop 1C, each one of them for a different thing. And I think this came from Prop 1C. I'm not sure. Maybe Prop 1B. I got it maybe off by a B or a C. But anyway, the money came from the state of California. And it was also, it's not just the city of San Bernardino that did it.
No, because it's in Redlands, and I don't know where else.
It's going in Redlands, and it's in Loma Linda.
It is in Redlands.
Oh, it is in Redlands. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's what they call a joint powers project. In other words, many cities, multiple cities did it. It's like San Bernardino International Airport. Folks, joint powers. San Bernardino, Loma Linda, Colton, Grand Terrace. All these cities sit on a board that governs the San Bernardino International Airport. Yeah, they don't have any planes going right now. Yeah, they've got empty parking lots. But stop blaming the city council and the mayor of San Bernardino for this, because it's not just them. It's a whole bunch of cities. So, there it is out in a nutshell. I put it out there. Joe Britt. As he scoots back.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, good. You should record that and just hit the button. That's right. That's right. That's right. He's busy working. Well, speaking of cities, this is big news, Di. Wow.
Hey.
Dun, 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 dun.
Okay. Dun.
Dun, 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 dun. Remember that? That was Dragnet. I don't remember what the FBI theme was, but the FBI has been busy this morning.
Oh, yes. You're going to tell me about that.
Yes.
I couldn't read the whole story.
The FBI has confirmed today that they are assisting the Riverside County District Attorney's Office, according to a SB Sun News paper article, and the Riverside Press Enterprise contributed to this too, that they are serving search warrants at Beaumont City Hall and the Urban Logics Consultants Incorporated this morning, because they're a contract city. Mm-hmm. They contract a lot of services, so they also contract their city attorney. They contract a lot of stuff. So it's a private corporation that they're contracting with that does a lot of the city services and city management.
Okay.
And that group is called the Urban Logics Consultants Incorporated. And apparently something's going wrong. We don't know what. But investigators and FBI agents were seen filling boxes after boxes and a truck with more than 500 boxes filled with documents from the city, 14 computers, 2 notebook computers, an external hard drive out of the Urban Logic Consultants Incorporated office in City Hall. They literally shut down Beaumont City Hall today.
Someone's in trouble.
Somebody's in trouble. Something happened somewhere.
Somebody has some explaining to do.
Oh, Beaumont, you got some explaining to do. The nature of the case surrounding the warrants is unclear. That means nobody knows at this time. But investigators are combing through file after file and have closed City Hall. for the
Wow.
time being, which means who knows when it's going to reopen again. I've never heard of that. They're just closing City Hall.
Wow.
You got to license your pet. You got to pay your water bill. In Belmont.
Well,
I don't know
are
that.
they unincorporated? Or do you know?
No, they're an incorporated city. They, like a lot of cities in California, they wanted to have a city. So they have to go to this consortium of cities, and I can't remember the name of it, but they get approval to become a city, and they have to prove that they can provide for their own services. And one way that they can do this is to contract out things like sheriffs for their police. The California Department of Forestry is a lot of times called upon for fire services. And I'm getting allergies. Excuse me. I don't know what's happening. I'm coughing. I'm wheezing. Anyway, literally a California state flag was pulled across the window blocking the view into Beaumont City Hall and a conference room in the city council chambers where you could see. And plainclothes agents are working.
Wow.
Working.
Wow.
Interesting how government works, huh? Or doesn't work. All right. Are you ready for this? You heard it here first. I'm going to spend the next 5 minutes of this. And then I'm going to come back and we're going to talk a little bit about the PUSOC thing. And then I'm going to talk about how to save a bunch of people money. But, every once in a while I hear some news. And in January, Congressman Pete Aguilar raised his hand for the very first time, the former mayor of Redlands, young man who's like 33 or 34 years old, and joined as the one of the 347 members of the House of Representatives of the Congress of the United States in Washington, D.C. Very proud moment for him, for his family. A lot of Democrats worked really, really hard. That's always been a Republican seat.
Yeah.
Always been a Republican seat. Congressman Jerry Lewis, not the funny one, but the other one. Held that seat forever and ever a day. And then some guy from Mission Viejo decided he wanted to extend his congressional career for a little bit. Came in 2 years ago, defeated a guy that I like as a Republican, Bob Dutton, a little bit. I like Bob a little bit. I can't say I like him a lot, but I like him a little bit. Defeated him for the Democratic or the nomination and became congressman in 31st for a couple of years. And then there was this firestorm of Democrats, because it really is a heavy Democratic registration now, vied for this. Oh, man, there was maybe 5 or 6 Democrats that ran for this seat. Pete Aguilar, like cream, rose to the top, but had to raise millions and millions of dollars to do this, defeat, first of all, everybody in the general election, and then, he ran up against this guy who I can't remember, some Republican guy who didn't do very well up against Pete in the general. Anyway, Pete's going to run again, of course. And the bad thing about being in Congress of the United States, and I think they need to change this, I don't know, Joe, what do you think? Every 2 years you got to run for office.
Yeah, that puts a burden on him because, he's constantly raising money, and I would like for him to be doing the things we want him to do.
I'm going to a fundraiser this weekend at the old Spaghetti Factory in Rancho Cucamonga for Congressman Pete Aguilar, being hosted by the Inland Valley Democratic Club out in Rancho Cucamonga. If you want to go stop by, they'd be glad to sell you a ticket for that. I don't know exactly what the tickets are, but anyway, I'm sitting at a table that was bought for me and a few other friends. But anyway, it's a fundraiser for Congressman Pete Aguilar, and disclaimer here, I'm a Democrat. I'm kind of vice chair of the Democratic Party in San Bernardino County. Kind of. No, I am. And Pete's a friend of mine. I've known Pete for a long time. But this other guy is a friend, but I want to tell him as a friend, no. I got a report today. In KCAA, we have these offices, and there's no doors on them. So you have an open door policy because you don't have any other choice. So I'm doing my work, and I feel this presence behind me like normal. And it's Linda Gonzalez, the president of the Democratic Women of San Bernardino County. She stopped in. She needed to give me some paperwork for the back of the house kind of paperwork. And she reported to me that, she also sits on a water board in Rialto. Mm-hmm. And she was sent up to Sacramento. And while she was up there, she caught wind of something, got a text of something, that apparently the former Congressman Baca is starting a campaign committee to run for the 31st congressional seat against Pete Aguilar, currently occupied by a sitting Democrat. What is that, Joe?
Well, you know what? That's dirty pool because
it's a huge no-no.
He said
nobody comes down. Huge no-no. You do not run against the sitting Democrat.
But he also said he was going to retire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man of his word? I don't know. He also said he used to live in Rialto, and then he was running for mayor of Fontana and lost that big time to Aquanetta Warren. Now, I want to be respectful because former Congressman Baca, whether you liked him or not, he served a lot of years in the United States Congress, played a lot of baseball, represented as well, played baseball, and other things too. But he served us. But then he made some wrong choices. He ran outside his district, basically, even though he claimed it was in his district. He moved out of San Bernardino. His office was right over here, right across from the mall, and moved over to Ontario and wanted to run against not a sitting congresswoman, but a sitting California state senator who was running for Congress, Gloria McLeod. And she was also an assemblywoman, and she was also, served on school boards and well-known and well-liked, mother of 10 children, Gloria McLeod. And she kicked his butt. Basically, she kicked his butt. So, long story made short, Congressman Baca has now decided to run against Pete Aguilar. And, I don't know. I think it's a really, really bad choice. I would encourage you, respectfully, Congressman Baca, do not do it. I can hear the members of the executive committee of the San Bernardino County Democratic Party going, no, 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 no. Every last one of them. I think it would be unanimous. That being said, Congressman Baca, do not run against Congressman Aguilar. Former Congressman Baca, do not run against Congressman Aguilar. Congressman Aguilar has teamed up with a congressman over in Riverside County, Congressman Mark Takano. They're doing an excellent job. Great synergy. They're working together. They're really creating something good for the Inland Empire. And I think, with that being said, one more time I will say, no, no, no. Go run in the 8th Congressional District. There's a Republican there. You want to run up against a Republican? Run up against a Republican. Don't do this. Do not do this. So
Pete's a good guy. He's a good guy.
Pete's a good guy.
And he's doing what the people want, you know? And for a retired person to come back in the game again, it's dirty pool, and it shouldn't be that way. He should go play with his grandkids and just give it
dirty
a
pool.
shot.
But what I call is unwise, certainly unwise, number one, because read the writing on the wall. You ran out of your district to another district. Basically, people didn't like that. It resulted in the fact that we had a congressional seat that was in the Republicans' hands for 2 years when it should have been in the Democrats' hands right here in San Bernardino. We had a Republican representing a city that was, probably 80% Latino, and he was extremely anti-immigrant, extremely anti. You could go on YouTube and type in his name, and it would come up with hundreds of YouTube videos that were kind of vitriol and not good, So, then he ran for mayor of Fontana, and he shouldn't have done that either. That was a really bad result for him. So now he wants to come and run. He already got beat in the primary in the 31st, running up against Pete Aguilar. He didn't raise, I don't think, $300,000. That race, easily you got to have $1 million just to get to the primary, and probably a couple $1 million to get elected in the general. Unfortunately, since Citizens United, that's the way it is. But with that being said, we got a whole nother half hour of a show to get through. Lots of great things to talk about, and hopefully the good things will come that way. So right now, this is it for the first half. Take it away, Joe.
On the Mark Live with Mark Westwood, a show about KCAA, the world, and you, with more to come in a moment.
Whenever a corporation issues a statement declaring that it is committed to, quote, treating consumers fairly and with respect, chances are it's not. After all, if the outfit was actually doing it, there would be no need for a statement. Indeed, this particular claim came from Encore Capital, one of our country's largest buyers of bad consumer debt, and it definitely has not been playing nice with the people it browbeats to collect overdue credit card bills, car loans, etc. New York Attorney General Eric Schneiderman found that Encore, based in San Diego, filed nearly 240,000 lawsuits against debtors in a recent 4-year period, using our courts as its private collection arm. Problem is, Encore's bulk filing of lawsuits are rife with errors, out-of-date payment data, fabricated credit card statements, etc. Tons of them are missing original loan documents, payment histories, and other proof of debt. Debt predators, however, scoot around this lack of facts by simply having their employees sign affidavits asserting that the level of money owed is accurate. Judges, overwhelmed by the unending flood of lawsuits filed by Encore et al., have accepted those affidavits as true, thus ruling in favor of the corporations. But Schneiderman found that, surprise, affidavits were simply being rubber-stamped by company employees who didn't have time to check for accuracy. An employee of one large debt buyer testified that he was having to sign about 2,000 affidavits a day. This is Jim Hightower saying, this is no minor scam. 1 in 7 adults in the U.S. is under pursuit by debt collectors. It's hard enough for struggling families to claw their way out from under the economic crash without having lying, cheating, predator corporations twist the court system to pick their pockets and shut off their hope of recovery.
An extra large man finds a T-shirt. It's the Onion Radio News. This is Doyle Redland reporting. Enormous fat man Ted Avers has, until recently, had a difficult time finding shirts that fit his extra large frame. Avers, who is in what doctors call the huge weight category, is very pleased with the results of shopping at Guy Jumbo's clothing store on the west side of town.
My brother, he's lucky. He's only extra large, so he can shop anywhere. Me, I'm really fat.
Avers was so happy with his purchase that he jumped for joy until a massive connective tissue failure resulted in a fat spill that closed the store. Doyle Redland for the Onion Radio News, online at theonion.com.
We know you're there. We can hear you talking on AM 1050 KCAA.
And now it's time to batten down the hatches, because here comes more of Mark Westwood and On the Mark Live. 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, batten down the hatches, especially if you live in the Central Desert, huh?
Yeah.
Tell me about that, Di.
A tornado. There was a tornado out there, Central
Desert. Like a big whirly thing, like they have in Iowa?
Yeah.
In Ohio?
But, well, not as intense.
Not as intense,
not
okay.
Not as intense, but not nearly as intense. But, yeah, just south of Joshua Tree National Park.
Wow. We don't usually have tornadoes in California. Again, I blame it on the National Orange Show. No, just kidding. And by the way, folks, we didn't get to that when we were talking about it. We talked about rain and the tradition that it always rains at the National Orange Show. It actually is believed it's an Indian curse.
Ah.
And James Ramos of the San Manuel Tribe of Mission Band Indians, it's time to call it off. No, they said it's an Indian curse that somehow or other the Orange Show was built on Indian burial grounds and that they cursed it. And because they said every orange show that's ever there will have rain. And with the exception of just a couple, over a 100-year period, every single time it has. And, we had a little rain yesterday, just a tad bit, but there's rain in the forecast, and there's certainly a lot of clouds in the sky. So,
well, I like the rain. We like the rain, huh?
Speaking of raining, it rained money on one Francis Pusak yesterday. Now, as that name sounds familiar, he is the gentleman who rode the horse into the desert like he thought he was McLeod. And he led the police on a 3-hour chase. He did. He was running, he said, in subsequent news clips after his beating, where he got kicked 70 times by police officers and hit and tased and spit at, you name it. They just really roughed him up. He claimed that the reason he did it is because he had been arrested before, and because, they've hit me before, so I ran. Really not the wisest thing for him to do. But at the same time, the San Bernardino County Sheriff's deputies that did this and engaged in this, shame on them. You are not the judge, the jury, and the executioner. We have a justice system. Let me explain this to every sheriff out there. You are to enforce the law on the street as far as detaining and arresting, as far as creating order. Maybe once in a while you should investigate a theft, and return people's stolen property, make sure that, accidents are reported correctly. But what you don't do is administer penalties on the street.
Correct.
And when you kick somebody and hit somebody beyond your own self, protection, you do that. Well, Pusak was down on the ground, had his hands behind his back, and, the first deputy that I saw kick him right in the where, I couldn't believe it. And that guy kicked him 3 more times there. We actually saw those 10 deputies, struggling with each other, kind of fighting with each other to see who was going to kick him next. It was so bad that the San Bernardino County Sheriff, John McMahon, who's actually a pretty decent guy, I think John McMahon's a pretty decent guy. He kind of was like speechless the first time. You could just see the daze in his eyes. He couldn't believe his own men would do that. Now, I kind of think that they were in kind of a craze, a daze when they got there. They'd been running for 3 hours. Their adrenaline was all pumped up. And here's what I think we should do. Before anything, we need to look at the source of the problem. Today's sheriff's deputy, you can vouch for this, and I can say this. Mm-hmm. They're buffed up. They're toned up. They got six-pack abs. They got bulging, whatever you call those muscles in their arms. Biceps, triceps, floral plexus, whatever. Shaved heads usually for whatever reason. And, they want to look like the next male muscle model. And that's a lot of competition amongst these guys to be stronger, to be, look better, to, the whole 9 yards. And I think some of them are taking anabolic steroids.
Perhaps.
Because what I saw there was the rage that I saw there was out of control is very systemic of roid rage, anabolic steroids, where they lose control. They're in anger. They're raging. They're violent. This is what's happening. Sheriff McMahon, take it from me. You need to give a test tube to every one of your sheriff's deputies and make them pee in it. And make sure that they're not on anabolic steroids. And if they are, they need to be suspended until they test negative. Right. And so I think that's what the problem is. But, let me give you some perspective, ladies and gentlemen, before we go to break and talk about how we can save some money. I want to talk about money and what the basic cost of this was. It was a mistake of a case of mistaken identity, by the way. These police officers didn't realize the helicopter overhead was NBC News. NBC News. They thought it was their own. So shame on them also for thinking they were going to get cover on this, because they didn't. They got all kinds of cover all over the national news, all over the national media. Yeah. They, for every good, decent deputy sheriff out there that, tries to enforce the law, we had a gentleman in the San Bernardino Police Department, back when Missouri happened, people got so enraged, they walked up and shot the guy. And that guy had nothing to do with what happened in Ferguson, Missouri. Nothing. But they shot him, and he's been in the hospital, and he's been trying to recover, and, they wrecked a family and the life and everything else. So we got to be careful how we do this. But, there were some sheriff's deputies that didn't do anything to stop it either. And I think as a sheriff's deputy, if you see another colleague doing this, you need to stop him.
Yeah, well, that's what Terrell had said in the lawsuit. He named the deputies who were standing by also. Yeah. Because they have a duty to protect. And, the district attorney, who, by the way, is running for California Attorney General against Kamala Harris, Michael Ramos, hasn't done anything. No arraignments, no arrests, no conviction, nothing. Okay? The deputies haven't been named, we understand. The San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department as a whole, sheriffs on their Facebook pages and everything, are getting death threats. Big time. They're being threatened. Their families are being threatened. This is wrong, too, and this is the wrong thing that has happened because 10 sheriff's deputies didn't do anything, and then a group of sheriff's deputies stood by and didn't do anything either. The only thing that tried to do something was the horse. Anyway, let me tell you about the cost of this. Already, first of all, Kcaa got $650,000 in a settlement that happened 2 weeks. It's unprecedented that a settlement happens that quickly, but it got settled. Okay, so there's the cost to the taxpayers. Now I did a kind of an odd thing. I calculated there were 70 kicks, punches, and hits that happened to this guy in 2 minutes, not counting the tasers. Okay, if you die, and there were 3 of those.
Right. If you divide 70 into $650,000, that's $9,285 a kick, a punch, or a hit.
Wow.
Folks, $9,285 a kick, a punch, or a hit. Okay, Joe, you said it to me. Go ahead, repeat it. What did you say to me? What did you say?
Okay, $650,000. If you can walk away from a beating and get paid in 2 weeks and get $650,000, would you do it?
Yeah, that's a big question. Would you do it? If we had more time in the show, we could take callers. And maybe we'll take a couple of callers just for the heck of it at 1-888-909-1050. If you call in and just give me a minute or so, I'll put you on the air. And you could talk about if you would take $650,000 beating. Would you take a beating for $650,000? That's an interesting thing. But, like I said, $9,285 a kick. Now, here's the bad thing. Those 10 sheriff's deputies were placed on administrative leave.
And paid.
And paid. That's what that means. That means they get to sit on their little duffs and collect their salary. Now, I looked up what an average San Bernardino County deputy sheriff makes. I looked up about 4 or 5 of them. They make an incredible amount of money, by the way. A lot of them, with their benefits, with their overtime pay, and their regular time pay, make about $170,000 a year.
Yeah. That's a lot of money.
Wow. That means they're making $4,600 a week. Imagine I don't get $4,600 in a month. I'll be honest with you. A lot of folks don't. A lot of Americans don't. A lot of Americans are struggling here. These guys, $4,600 a month. They get paid overtime if they work more than, 40 hours a week. I think maybe 430 hours a week. They're suspended with pay. That means they've now received, because they've been off for about 2 weeks, about $14,000 for nothing, for free money. Now, their careers are probably over, I'll be honest with you. They should be over.
Well, we don't know that, though,
But
because no one has spoken anything about that. And I think that's one of the reasons why they're trying to keep these sheriff deputies' names under wraps.
All right.
I do.
And now $14,000 times 10, the math is really simple. That's $140,000 in taxpayer money, right? So Sheriff John McMahon released a statement yesterday saying he supports the action of the Board of Supervisors in negotiating the settlement with Kcaa, and that the investigations continue and further details will be released as they become available. Meanwhile, the names of the deputies have not been released. The death threats continue pouring in because of their bad behavior against other good sheriff's deputies, and they're receiving threats on social media, on their emails and phone calls. Employees in the department that are not necessarily law enforcement officers are also receiving threatening messages. The investigation is continuing. We need to resolve this, but, somebody someplace needs to be fired, investigated, the whole thing. Once that happens, you can take the heat off the entire department, because that's what's happening.
So instead of getting suicide by a cop, you're getting beaten by a cop and getting paid?
Well, seems, I can't argue with you on that, Mr. Britt.
And then do we know the story with Kcaa? Because he was originally going to go back to court in June. So now he's got all this time off. And
I bet you they negotiated that part of it.
Yeah.
I imagine that was negotiated down. I bet you they dropped the charges. Doesn't do any jail time or anything else. Well, Joe, we're going to skip the next break, okay? As operations manager, I can say that. I'll make it good later. We got some things to talk about how to save money, and a positive thing. So the next 15 minutes, I'm going to tell you how you can go to the Bahamas. You can go to Bermuda. You can help, donate more money towards your kids' college fund. And it's real simple.
Show me the way.
Stop spending ridiculous amounts of money on TV. People, first of all, the newer generation doesn't even know. I've talked to people under 20 years of age, and they say, is this legal? Let me wind the clock back. Way back in the day, Grandma and Grandpa used to put a little clothesline on top of their roof. It was called a TV antenna. And they got maybe 10 channels. If they were lucky in California, that was more than most of the nation. Most got 2 or 3. And sometimes, you'd have to put tinfoil on your index finger and stick your right finger out to get good reception. That was called analog. About 3 years ago, they passed something called digital TV, and they implemented it, rather. And all of the analog TV stations had to turn their little signals off, and they all changed around on the UHF band, and they went digital. And with digital, the wonderful thing about it, just like digital radio, you can do this too. It's so narrow bandwidth. In other words, it uses so much little space on the spectrum that you can put, like Channel 18 in Los Angeles. It used to be licensed to San Bernardino, it's not. They have 9 TV stations on just Channel 18. They have 18.1, 18.3, 18.4, 18.5. Well, up and down the dial, all of the networks are doing this. They're providing a cable-like service. The thing is, there's not going to be any cable TV companies coming to install it. They're not going to tell you about it. They want you to continue to spend that $65, $70, $90 a month on TV. But what's coming through the air is pretty incredible. And so I can't tell you all about this in just 15 minutes. You can do some research. Google free TV, Google digital TV, Google terrestrial TV. You can go to, I have a website called SoCalFreeTV.webs.com. That's SoCalFreeTV.webs.com. Now, for instance, CBS, Channel 2. If you live in Yucaipa, Redlands, Riverside, below baseline in San Bernardino, if you live in Los Angeles, Rancho Cucamonga, Fontana, Bloomington, anywhere in Riverside practically, you can get over-the-air TV. And there's about 116 channels now on these sub-channels. Channel 2, it started a new channel called 2.2 Decades. It's classic TV shows and movies from the 50s, 60s, and 70s. Sound like cable? Yeah, sure it is. Channel 4, KNBC News is still there, over the air. Put an antenna on your roof. If you're out here in Los Angeles, you can practically just turn your TV on because all of the TV stations, this is real easy, are on Mount Wilson. And excuse me, folks, I have some allergies kicking in. Did I say something? Hello.
You know.
Okay, Marcus, I'm just looking because I'm very interested in this. I
printed a list out.
I
by the way,
remember
folks.
when TV used to be free. So, like anything, you hate paying for something that used to be free.
Currently, I'm paying $215 a month. That comes out to be $2,580 a year.
Yeah, and if you sign up with Dish or DirecTV, it's good service, by the way, and you'll get what you want. If you want, the cable news network, and it's worth $2,000 a year to you, good. If you want CNN, good. If you want, whatever cable channel you want, think about it. You don't go to the movies because it's costing you $15 a time, but you'll pay for this TV that way. It doesn't make sense. 4.1, Cozy TV. They have stuff like Miami Vice and Murder, She Wrote and things like that. KTLA Channel 5. That's the WGN station. They have local Los Angeles TV on. On KTLA, Antenna TV, they've got everything from Mr. Ed to Mr. Belvedere. Mr. Ed to Mr. Belvedere. And all kinds of classic TV. KTLA has a movie station on channel 5.3, MGM Classic Movies.
Wow.
All day, every day, MGM Classic Movies. Lots of great movies. ABC has just debuted some things. They have just the regular Channel 7 with all the stuff, and that's owned by Disney, by the way.
And that's so you can get all the network shows, all the shows that you love.
Right. 2, 4, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13. They're all there still. And they all have their digital sub-channels. Now, Channel 7 has the regular KABC, and then they have 7.2, which is Live Well Network, and they've got, like, Let's Dish, Food Rush. They have knockoff shows. They have just kind of like your cable TV, lifestyle channels. They just debuted something called Laugh TV, Laff TV. It's a comedy channel. It debuted April 15th on tax day, so everybody could laugh while they were paying their taxes. Anyway, lots of great shows on there, lots of great TVs. And because ABC is owned by Disney, guess what they're playing on that channel? Disney movies. What's better than Herbie and the Love Bug or Freaky Friday? Or that's all kinds of great programming. Channel 11, Fox TV. Channel 13 is a real trailblazer, too. I don't know what's going on with Bounce TV. It's like BETV. It's not on right now. I hate to say, but the channel is all dark. There's no programming on there.
On
I don't
Bounce
mean to
TV?
say it. Yeah, I don't mean to say it's black.
American Black.
It is, but it was.
I'll say it. I'll say it. That's okay.
It was geared like a BET, but I don't know what happened. All right. They are also debuting on 13.2 Buzzer TV. Classic TV game shows. That sounds like a cable-like offering, doesn't it? Movie channel. It's called Movies. It's classic movies from Saturday night, they say.
Cool.
Then Channel 18 is just the foreign language channel. Every foreign language you can think of, from Cantonese to Mandarin to Armenian to Korean and Chinese is on that one. Then, of course, if you're Latino, you have, all kinds of shopping networks. You have Mundo Fox. You have Telemundo. There's religious things like Majesty and all kinds of stuff. Then Channel 24 is our local, down at Valley College, has 4 TV offerings. Not just Channel 24. They have KVCR FNX, which is the First Nations experience. They have PBS Encore. They have Crate TV, which is like a home and garden cooking channel. KCET, same thing, 4 channels. So instead of getting just 2 public TV stations, you get 4. Then Channel 30 is Ion Network. Various TV shows like Cold Case and Mystery. And that's a station, by the way, licensed to San Bernardino. They also have on 30.2 Cubo, which is kids' TV, cartoons, and kids' shows all 24 hours a day. Ion Life on 30.2, home improvement shows, Ion Shop, infomercial, QVC, the Home Shopping Network. Then there's University, Univision, Trinity Broadcast Religious, Channel 56, has all kinds of offerings. The Catholic channel. They have KDOC, of course, which has a lot of local things. They broadcast the Dodgers last year, by the way, when nobody else did at the end of the season, but they did it. And then there's on Channel 46.2, Get TV, another classic American movie channel. You know, I could go on and on and on here. Escape is a channel for movies for women on 46.3. Grit TV, 46.4, movies for men. They've got Spanish MTV. You name it, they've got it, foreign language. But there's a lot of offerings. And guess what? You team this up with something called Hulu and Netflix on like a Roku or on your DVD player might offer it. Or if you have a digital flat screen TV, it might be on there already.
It's worth looking into, that's for sure.
You are getting more, not less TV, than you can get with your Time Warner, with your DirecTV, and your Dish TV. And like Joe said, there are people with 4 and 5 TVs. You hook up one TV antenna, feed it to all your TVs. There's no extra charge. With Direct or Dish or Time Warner, for every TV, you got to pay a little extra.
So this is just like old days.
Like old days. Now, sometimes they cluster, or they put like 3 services together, like your telephone, your internet, and your TV. And let me say this: how many people, when you want to get a hold of you, call you on your home phone? They want to get a hold of you, they call you on your cell phone, right?
First, yes.
Do you have a home phone?
I do. You've called me on that before.
Oh, that's right.
You have.
And that number is, no, just kidding. And Joe, do you have a home phone?
Yeah, but we don't use it.
Right. And I have a home phone that I disconnected because every time I called it, it was somebody marketing to me. It wasn't my family. It wasn't people who love me or my friends or somebody I wanted to talk to. They call me on my cell phone because they know that if I'm in the bathroom, in the car, asleep, in office, whatever, they're going to get a hold of me.
Right.
But they never call me on my home phone.
But that's not really true.
Well, maybe not for everybody. For me, it is.
Yeah. No,
for me, it is.
It's not for every. Yeah. It's true that I can never get a hold of you.
Oh, okay.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
We got about 4 minutes. But what I'm saying here is check into this, folks. SoCalFreeTV.webs.com is a website that I put together. It kind of tells you something about it. I had another TV a website called HowToGetFreeTV.com that has gone by the wayside for whatever reason. The web hosting company didn't get that I wasn't selling something, so they took it down, and I got to get it back up. But, you just Google this. It's amazing the amount of money you can save. Over the years, you're talking $20,000. If you 10 years.
And then with Dish or anything like that, yeah, you don't get the movies. There's nothing on the weekends. Nothing, right?
Yeah.
Nothing. So you're paying all this money for nothing.
And I'm watching The Flying Nun and Get Smart and MASH, and I like all the old classic stuff. And the movies and the Disney movies now. I love that Laugh channel. It's great. There's a lot of good programming. And, for as much as I'm home, people have different TV needs. Maybe somebody needs that channel and they won't do without it. The Fox TV channel or CNN, and then you make your calculated thing. You're going to pay that money for it. But, for me, I watch maybe an hour and a half of TV going to sleep, or maybe on the weekends here and there for a half hour or 20 minutes. And it doesn't pay me to have cable TV. But, Hulu is kind of fun because I can get, regular TV programs or Hulu specials or Hulu movies or movies just in general whenever I want. I find that I have more than enough TV, and I don't pay more than $5 a month for TV for the Hulu.
That's good.
Yeah,
that's really good.
And if I want to add Netflix on it, I could pay maybe $13. But everybody else, you're paying just for basic cable no less than $45 a month. I can guarantee.
And then they jack it up every year.
Right.
Every year.
And if you wanted to have a TV in your living room, you couldn't have it, and have it in your garage or whatever unless you paid $7 a month more each TV. That adds up every month.
Right.
And you got to sign a contract. That's the nice thing. You don't have a contract with this. You go out. I think the TV antenna and the installation is going to cost you about $70.
And can you install it yourself?
And you can install it yourself. Definitely. You might want to call somebody. And on Craigslist, there are people who advertise they do this.
Oh, okay.
They'll come and put this thing up, the antenna mast. It's not hard. Once you see it done, you'll be like, I could have done this myself. It's like that. But, sometimes we pay people to mow our lawn. Sometimes we pay people to, wash our car and stuff like that.
Well, just kind of knowing that it's someone who knows how to do it and has done a number of them, and they'll do it right.
Yeah, and a big hint is that, like, if you have one of those new flat screen TVs, a digital TV, an LED TV, or plasma TV, you have to go into your TV menu and change it, because a lot of times they'll send it from the factory, to go for cable. And there's a cable and a broadcast setting, and it's very easy. You just go in and get into broadcast, and you click scan, and your TV does all the work. And if you can get channels, it's going to pick it up. Now, in our areas, especially in San Bernardino, northern San Bernardino, you're going to have a pretty tall TV antenna because of Little Mountain and the hills and all that stuff. But you live a little further out, down below baseline, like I said, all the TV stations except for KVCR are on Mount Wilson in Southern California. All those ones I named are on Mount Wilson. If you know where Mount Wilson is, you aim the back end of your TV antenna towards that, the little thing that looks like a bird tail. Aim that towards it, and, by golly, you're going to get amazing results. You're going to press scan, and you're going to see 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll tell you the story how I figured this out myself. And, it was pretty amazing to see this all coming up. And, I only have about a minute or so. Do I, Joe, how many more minutes do I have? I don't. Okay, well, that's it for On the Mark Live. I'm Mark Westwood with Ty Rice. We'll see you next Wednesday at 4 p.m.
Thank you for listening to On the Mark Live, hosted by Mark Westwood, a weekly show about this station, hot topics, local motion, and the world around us. Join us next week as we hop back on the KCAA Express for another ride on the Mark.
You're on board KCAA's Inland Talk Express. KCAA, Loma Linda, 1050 a.m., the station that leaves no listener behind.
I'm Chris Maurer, CNBC Business Radio. Stocks are higher. The Dow's up 55 points. The Nasdaq higher by 8. Shares of Visa hitting an all-time high today, and MasterCard rose sharply after China said it would open its market to foreign firms for clearing domestic bank card transactions. This will allow the two companies and other foreign players direct access to a market valued at nearly $7 trillion a year. Coca-Cola coming in with better than expected profit and revenue. The beverage giant showed the first revenue increase in 9 quarters. Shares of Boeing are down 2%, the plane maker posting revenue that fell short of expectations. Chipotle is off nearly 7% a day after reporting its slowest restaurant growth in 5 quarters. But Angie's List is up sharply, the company surprising analysts with a profit. And sales of previously owned homes rose to their highest level in 18 months. Chris Maurer, CNBC Business Radio.
Companies spend hundreds of millions of dollars on sophisticated information security.
But that hasn't stopped us from exposing vital documents.
Who are we? Some rogue group of hackers, hell-bent on tearing down corporate establishment?
Nah, it's just everyone in the office who uses a printer.
From abandoned printouts to scanned documents emailed incorrectly, your printers can be your company's greatest security risk. Learn how to gain control of document security at nuance.com/gain control.
Have you had trouble